If you want to get better at FC24, come join the Neil Guides FC School Patreon series. If you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. That's the Neil Guides guarantee. Link is down below in the description. Check it out. Okay, so we're going to go over the rank 1 meta tactics to help you get more wins. Now, these are proper try-hard tactics. It's very important that you pay attention to this video. I know many people skip before. This time you can't skip. It's very important you pay attention and understand why I change things, because everyone just skips and then they start crying after. You need to understand why I do it and adjust it for your own style. This is the most important weekend league and the hardest one you'll face. Don't mess around here, guys. Trust me. I'm telling you honestly, otherwise you'll regret it after. Now, I'm starting off with the 4-2-3-1. This formation in my ultra defensive slot is purely used for game control or to close out the game. Now, if I had a choice, I would have 5 slots here. Now, I'm just going to draw something out to you. There's something very important. I'm going to be using about 7 tactics this weekend league. Unfortunately, there's not 7 slots, but I'm going to explain to you how I'm going to use this, okay? The first one you're going to see in a second, it's not going to be the 4-2-3-1. This would be the closeout formation. I've talked about the 5-2-2-1 before. That's formation there. Then you have the ultra defensive formation to control the game with 2 CDMs. Very, very important, especially if you're up against a fellow elite or pro player. So important. Then I have attack variation 1, attack variation 2, the balance 4-3-2-1, which you have to have because it's one of the best formations inside the game, and then the all-out attack tactics. So I'll explain to you what I mean first, okay? So this 4-2-3-1 would be purely to control the game. I've got balance, 39 width, so you're compact, okay? 44 depth, so that way you're not overly aggressive, okay? Very, very important. This is to control the game. So when you lose possession and your opponent's got the ball, I don't want any of these players to move out of position. If you have 45 depth and above, the game moves them, AI moves them automatically. I got a slow build-up play, so when I do have the ball, if my opponent decides to engage in a press against me, at least with slow build-up play, players are going to be close to me. I'm going to have support. I can pass the ball to them. I can easily evade someone who wants to play a bit more aggressive, someone's playing a bit more deliberate and putting me under pressure. The whole idea of having a bank of 4 and having 2 CDMs is you secure the middle, but you also have the wing players and this number 10 in the middle that can help outnumber my opponent in midfield. The idea is that 5 bank in midfield can outnumber someone. When you're try-harding, this is something you've got to bear in mind. These are all the things, okay? The chance creation is on balance, not possession. For myself on this style, I don't like possession because I do like to use L1 triggers in behind. You can also use the 4-2-3-1 second variation, but I prefer the one with cams because the attacking support, 70 width to be wide as possible, the 3 players in the box and 1 corners and free kicks. And to be completely candid, literally everyone here is on comeback and offense. So these players are on comeback and offense, literally like so. These players are both on stay on the edge of the box for a cross because I don't really want them to be going inside the box. I do want the cam to go inside the box though. Both CDMs on cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking. There is no sweeper keeper. I don't want the goalkeeper to make a mistake or do something for me. Then my left back will be both on stay back, overlapping conservative. So they're going to stay back. In the event they do go forward, I want them to overlap, of course. The wing players and conservatives, they don't hop out of position. If they see a chance to win the ball, they stay in position. You know what happens sometimes, a player commits forward, a through ball goes in behind, and you could be in trouble. Now this is the 4-2-3-1 that I would use to control the game. That's what I would start with, okay? Then I also mentioned to you there'll be a formation to purely close out the game. I'm talking about pass the ball from side to side, close out. That's what I mentioned last week. You can literally use the same. So let's say I'm inside a game and let's say I'm winning and I'm winning 2-1 or 3-1. It's 75, 80 minutes. I now want to start passing the ball, lobbing the ball. And listen, if you want to get the rank 1, this is what you got to do. This is the truth. This is what you got to do. I'm trying to close out the game. This is what everyone should do. What I would do in that situation is I'll just quickly change to a 5-2-2-1. The sole reason is because you have 2 CDMs and a bank of 5. So because my job is not to maintain possession in contrast to the 4-2-3-1, it's not even to save the chance. I'm using this one purely because it's got 2 CDMs, which allows me to sit deeper and I got a back line of 5. So this is more for defensive structure. You can think of it, I've parked the bus. Then what I may do is I may reduce the width to about 20 to be as narrow and as compact as possible. And if I need to, I will sub on some defenders or some versatile players where I need to and when I need to, okay? So those are the 2 ultra defensive tactics. So I'll start with the 4-2-3-1 in my slot. But if I am 75 minutes, I can always pause the game and just change to a 5-2-2-1. I do that with a pause inside the game. I do that on the fly. This is what you have to do when you don't have enough tactics. Again, this is what I'd recommend, especially if you're going for the highest rank, okay? Then we have the 2 variations of the attacking slots. There's 2 formations that are basically undefendable for an opponent if you know what you're doing. This 5-2-1-2, I promise you, it's undefendable, but it's up to you to use this to get your space in behind. So this left back and this right back, when they go forward, they are completely unmarked. Ever since it's been come out in FIFA 19, when I released it, the flying fullbacks, they'll always be unmarked. I would use this up against someone using a 4-3-2-1. They're defending in a 4-4-2, and I'm trying to drag away the left mid and right mid, and I'm trying to use the central areas as well. If someone is playing like a narrow 4-1-2-1-2 or even a 4-2-3-1, this is a formation that I will turn to. You can copy these exact tactics as it is for this one. I've got 35, 65, fast build-up play. I am honestly using forward runs, not direct passing. I just was experimenting a bit. It's got to be forward runs, 55 width, 7 players inside the box. Stay central, get in behind. You can use stay central if you want to. I've got one stay forward, and one of them come back in defense, both one get it behind. Cam on come back in defense, get into the box for cross. Centre mids, not CDMs, on stay back, cover centre. And left back, right back on join the attack and overlap. Now, if you're watching this and you're an elite or already a rank 3 player and above, you should be using these players on stay back while attacking. And you should be using the D-pad tactics. So you should be doing something like this. I'll even put conservative on. And that way you can use the D-pad tactics to push them forward when you want to. The key with this formation is using them as you want to on the fly like a light switch. That is how you kind of destroy your opponent, because they can't take it, because not one person, even pro players, don't even do this. So when you do against your opponent, it surprises them. They can't defend against it because the dynamic adjustment mid-game, very, very important mid-game, okay? This would be the one to go down the wing. If I can't get through with a 5-2-1-2, which would be rare, but let's say I feel like my opponent is playing something more of a 4-4-2, a wider variation, or they're playing a 4-3-3, and they haven't got 3 players on stay forward, I'd probably go more towards the 3-5-2. The reason why is because you've got 2 strikers in the cam, similar to the 5-2-1-2, but the left mid and right mid, they're more centralized and more involved in the play. And that way, against narrower formations like a 4-1-2-1-2, second variation, a 4-2-3-1, or a 4-4-2, I can attack in a narrow instance, but I can also attack in a wide areas. But don't forget, in the 5-2-1-2, these players are basically like hug the sideline level. I'm not really going to pass the ball to those players to kind of just to kind of walk the ball inside the box. They're wide as possible in the 5-2-1-2, so I can distribute the ball to them, lob it ball, and then do a cut back into the middle, or get the ball with this player here and lob it to that side. Does that make sense? But this one, the left mid and right mid, they're more integrated inside the game. So I'll do something like this. I'm just going to put Stanway there, and I'll put someone like get in behind, get into the box for a cross, come back in defense like this. I'll put stay forward here. Stay central for both of these players. I want to stay in the middle because I've already got left mid and right mid. I don't even go wide like a 5-2-1-2. Both CDMs on cut passing a lane, stay back while attacking. However, I could always trigger this myself manually. So do you see what I'm saying? So I have 2 actual attacking variations here. I'd probably start off with the 5-2-1-2 first. If I know I can't get past with a 5-2-1-2 and I need my left right mids more involved, then I would change to a formation like that. That's just something just to bear in mind, because what I find is without that, sometimes I feel naked when I'm attacking, because some players you're up against, they're very good at pressing. They've got a really wide 4-4-2. That is when the 5-2-1-2 I can get the balls easily in these wide areas, those players are going to be completely and utterly unmarked. But with a 3-5-2, they're more integrated into the play. You will know this. It's very, as I said to you, stress is importance. Look, I know I'm already midway through, but I explained this yesterday as well. You don't want to change too much, but people always want to know my sweat tactics. These are my sweat tactics, okay? The only thing I would do in the 3-5-2 is I'll change this to a long ball, and that's it. I'll keep the tactics the same. So do you see why I'm saying there's two formations here and two formations here? Because the tactics stay the same. It's only the formation that changes. So I can always pause the game and change it on the fly. I've only got 4 available slots. That's what I got to do. In the 4-3-2-1, to be honest, I was using Texas video. Same thing here. I've just gone a bit low on the depth to 60 to be a bit more reserved. 35 width, long ball and direct passing, and 45 attacking width, and 7 players inside the box. This is the typical system. I've just got stay central, get it behind. I just put stay central, stay full on this player. Yes, the player does come back a little bit in theory if the right mid is out of position and it kind of covers. But I want to make sure they stay forward. So when I defend in that 4-4-2, that's the layout it's going to be. It's going to be like that. Everyone knows the position. I know where players. I can close my eyes and I know if I pass the ball to Alvarez, I know who's going to be that left striker. Then I got comeback and offense. Ramirez, she makes the right mid. Fantastic card. I love her. Such a fantastic card. Stanway, another amazing card. Really like Stanway. Stay cover center. So I'll take in a senior. Another card. I love him. He's amazing. He's on cover wing. He defends as a left mid. But he's got the ability with a tiki-taka play style to get forward and create attack opportunities. And then I got the right back on overlap. And I've got that player on balance. Someone like a Havertz can work very, very well in this role. I normally might move Ramirez there depending on how I feel inside the game. So what I would typically do is I would normally, it depends on how I play. So this is very, very important before I get on to the last one. When I start the game, I suss the opponent out. This will take something that comes with skill. If you're not too sure about sussing your opponent out, you'd always want to start on something that's a bit conservative, not too ultra attacking. Problem is with the 3-5-2 and the 5-2-1-2, both of them respectively have a back 3. When you're attacking in a 5-2-1-2, you have a back 3. You have the ability to get countered. So I wouldn't suggest starting with a back 5, especially if your back 5 are going forward. But that's why I like the ability, as I said, with a 5-2-1-2, is if you put both the left back and right back on stay back while attacking, you can use D-pad tactics on the fly. More and more pro players are using this now. The only thing is this year the 5-back's not allowed in the pro scene, but you saw on the latter end pro players are using D-pad tactics now. They must have been using it years ago if you're asking me. So that's the way that I'll do. So I'll start like on a 4-2-3-1. So this is what I'll do. I'll start on a 4-2-3-1, see how the game suss out. I'll analyze my opponent, see if they've got 3 players on stay forward. Then I'll normally go to either 5-2-1-2 or 3-5-2. Those formations would be enough for me to win the game. Yes, I can play with a 4-3-2-1. There's a couple of reasons why I don't use it. Number one, I generally think for my playstyle, 3-5-2 is the best formation offensively and defensively inside the game. And it'll always create me that chance. If I can't get through on a wider areas, I could always use that 5-2-1-2 and I can change it on the fly very, very easily. But that's why I prefer the 3-5-2. And also the 4-3-2-1, I feel like everyone just knows about it. And one of the things that I like to exploit very easily is when your opponent is transferring from that 4 midfield line. It goes from like a 5 or 3, a 4-3-2-1, and it kind of converts into a 4-4-2 defensively. That transition period is when I can exploit people very easily, especially with a left back and right back on the 3-5-2. If my opponent's got a left back and right back, or let's say, for example, I'm playing against someone, and let's say it's a real sweaty game, and this is where the tactical elements of FC come into play. This is high level tactical stuff. Let's say, for example, I know that he's playing a 4-3-2-1. Let's say, traditionally speaking, as most tactics, the opponent's right back makes that run on the overlap. What I'll do to counter that is maybe I could leave this player on stay forward. That way, when I do win the ball, Valverde is going to be there available. You got to be careful how you do this. You kind of got to put 3 strikers on stay forward here. So, because then what happens is you can basically force Cecina to come as a left mid. So out of possession, Cecilio would go left mid, but then when I have a player like Valverde, so maybe I'll swap Ramirez and Valverde there. So I know if my opponent is doing that, I can just very, very easily ping the ball to Ramirez and get the counter attack going. And because I got Correa and Alvarez up top as well, I've got a 3 versus 3 effectively. So these are all the small things that you'll make these decisions inside the game. Whenever you see a pro player play, yeah, they have unlimited pauses. Well, they're like 8 pauses or whatever it is, but they can still pause the game. Sometimes in the commentary you don't see it, but they hide the screen. But they're always making adjustments. They're always reducing the depth down to a lower amount. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're using balance and possession now to close out the game and stuff like that. And then I would use the comeback tactic, the 4-2-4, constant pressure, 60 width, 71. This is the comeback tactic. I really wouldn't change much of this. Maybe if I'm up against a weak opponent, this doesn't really normally happen in this weekend league. But if I was up in another weekend league, I'd probably use balanced here and probably start the game with this formation. But this one piece of advice I really want to give to you. This is a marathon and not a sprint. You cannot be aggressive in this game and get away with it from the beginning. So this is only a comeback tactic. People keep being disillusioned by thinking you can use this the entire game. I know people suggest that, but don't. You're going to run out of stamina. You go to extra time, you're completely game over for you. This is only a comeback tactic. This is not a tactic to be using when you're winning. As soon as you get the goal, you go back and you change your tactic. Just how your opponent will be reactive to you, you have to be reactive. And then these are instructions. You can just pause this. Now, one thing I want to say as well is, look, as I mentioned to you earlier and yesterday, you ideally don't want to change your tactics, okay? If you are used to using a 4-3-3 and you've been doing that for the entire year and you've been working well with it, this is not the time to change. I'm releasing this video because if I don't release it, everyone's like, Neil, where's the tactics video? You have to keep everything as consistent because this is when you don't want to make mistakes. This is like Arsenal now going into the Premier League and putting in Nketiah up front and suddenly changing to, you know what, let's play, for example, a 4-4-2 as we normally would when we're defending, but maybe we're attacking in a 4-2-3-1. We haven't done that since maybe, I don't know, Ramsey was in the team. But this is not, stick to your guns, stick to what you used to, because later on you would regret changing it. So if you see, oh, Neil, look, Neil said 5-2-1-2. Look, if you used it last week, you will know about it. If you've been following my videos for a long time, you know every single week in and week out, give you different styles. Copy the style, what's the best. The ones that you can copy, like the 4-2-3-1, they're pretty much universal. The 4-2-4, universal. I think everyone should have a 4-2-4 in their setup. Every pro has one, or 4-4-2, and everyone has a 4-3-2-1. Things like the 3-5-2, they can be swapped out. And things like the 5-2-2-1, as I said to you, when you're winning 75 minutes, you just have to pause the game. Your opponent probably going to pause and probably end up putting subs on. Then you can change to the 5-2-2-1 and be ultra defensive. I didn't go with the 5-4-1 because although I might play better defensively with this, I preferred the CDMs mainly for stability and cut passing lanes for the AI assistance. But that is the weekly tactics. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Best of luck in this weekend league. It's really going to be sweaty, and expect to get 1 or 2 more losses than what you'd normally get. That's what I'll advise you. Thanks for watching. If you want to get better FC, you can come to my Patreon. So it's patreon.com/NoGo. Link down in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, we refund your money. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Best of luck, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.